McDonald's in Hong Kong, Consumerism, Dietary Change, and the Rise of Children's Culture by James Watson. This book, Golden Arches East, McDonald's in East Asia, is in its second edition. It's edited by James Watson, and I have to say, it sells like McDonald's hamburgers, very popular. So globally popular this book is that it's gone into its second edition, and actually it's translated into lots of different Asian languages and also languages around the world because it shows a historical snapshot that has passed, but a historical snapshot of what it was like in Asia when McDonald's first went in. So that, again, this is a historical, from decades and decades ago, what did happen when McDonald's went into Asia? What year was McDonald's built in Hong Kong? Well, I would like you to answer all these questions on your own. How did children like it? What did moms like it? Did they like it? Now, how did older Chinese people think of this cold food? Was it an expected hit or was it not? What was an unexpected hit? What was not popular? So again, pause the video and I'd like you to answer all those questions. Now, Hong Kong's people's reaction to Mickey D's or Hong Kong McDonald's. Hong Kong people love McDonald's. Watson argues, economic and social realities made it necessary to construct an entirely new approach to global issues, one that takes into account the consumer's own view into account. So what do Hong Kong people view McDonald's? Actually, they view it quite differently from American McDonald's consumers. Now, McDonald's opened in 1975. There's a lot of cultural miscues. McDonald's sells cold food. One could argue that, there's cold sandwiches and there are cold drinks was considered very culturally unadaptable when it first in 1975 came to Hong Kong. Now, people in Hong Kong don't eat cold food. The only time they eat cold food or see cold food is when they're actually praying to their dead ancestors. And you see here is it's kind of a prayer kind of altar. And again, so that was a big cultural miscue. So again, the cold liquids with ice in it was not a big hit at all, as well as the food that was cold. It really reminded them of death. So again, people in Hong Kong viewed it differently. Now, over the years, remember it opened in 75. That was the original kind of conception. But over the years, it became fancier and fancier and fancier. And now people in Hong Kong get married in McDonald's. It's their childhood kind of memories, and it's positive event, not too expensive. And it's considered a nice thing. So you see these multiple couples getting married at McDonald's. So in 1975, but it opened, but the chain Cafe de Coral was built in 1969, was already a popular Hong Kong chain. Now, if you've never been to Hong Kong, Cafe de Coral is like the Denny's of kind of Hong Kong. It's really delicious, cheap price, and really great local food. Now, kids, to answer the question originally that I posed, they loved McDonald's. It actually gave a rise to birthday culture and children's culture. We had birthday parties there. Never had birthday parties at any kind of restaurant in Hong Kong before, but now it's kind of common. Now, kids and moms, they really love McDonald's because it was safe for kids, and it became more popular as Hong Kong became richer. And again, in order to have a McDonald's in your community, your country, is actually a huge thing. There's actually the McDonald's theory, where the more McDonald's you have, or more American companies you have in another country, it means less likely you're going to go to war with that country in terms of the US. So that is actually a huge theory. Also, an unexpected hit was breakfast. Who knew that the breakfast would be this like delightful thing that the Hong Kongers would just love and flock to? Now, Hong Kong McDonald's transforms Hong Kong. Number one, they bring bathrooms, Western bathrooms. Okay. Before, if you've been to Hong Kong, you would sometimes, originally in the 70s, 60s, it could be a hole in the ground, right? No, they bring American style Western bathrooms, which is phenomenal. There's queuing, which means they have to make people stand in line for things. They don't do that in mainland China, and they don't do that around the world in some places. places, but they actually brought this here and they taught Hong Kongers how to stand in line. Also, there's a level of cleanliness at McDonald's that they didn't have in other Hong Kong restaurants. Now, the big thing, and I see a lot with my international students, they hoard them in their apartments, is napkins. They gave away free napkins. So, as anyone's been to Asia, napkins are not free. You have to bring your own napkin pack wherever you go, and table space. Now, usually, if you've been to Hong Kong, sometimes the rule is if you're sitting by yourself, you're going to be joined with other people because anyone can take your seat. And also, when you move, someone can take stay in your table as well. So here, it's huge tables. You get yourself. Again, very different from Hong Kong culture. Also, it's the same price as competitors and half price for upper middle class Cantonese meals. So it is kind of like a deal in a sense because it's cheaper than the richest thing and it's pretty much the same price as everything else. So pretty good. McDonald's in Hong Kong now is part of its transnational culture.